Hello everyone, and welcome to this tutorial on how to answer the spelling, punctuation and grammar sections on the GL Assessment Style 11 Plus papers. My name is Peter Gawley and I run Head Start 11 Plus tuition in Aylesbury, and one of the areas that we've found through doing our lessons for the last 10 years is that the area pupils really seem to struggle on in the English section is this spelling and punctuation section. So I'm hoping through this tutorial we'll be able to give you some ideas, some concepts that we use, some strategies just to help you answer the questions a little bit faster and with a little bit more accuracy. So first of all, what do the questions look like? So what you will be given for spelling and the punctuation section is a section that looks like this. So we've just taken a random question, question 29 from a GL assessment paper. And what you'll have is you'll have a sentence, and it'll be a passage of text that runs, and within there may be a spelling error or a punctuation error. So what you would do is you would read the sentence, and if you found the spelling error, then your answer would be the letter A, B, C, D, where the spelling error is found. So in this example here, tournament is spelled incorrectly at the very end. And because tournament falls above the D box, your answer would be D. Now this works the same for the punctuation. So let's say, for example, that the apostrophe wasn't needed in counties at the start, then your answer would be A because the punctuation error has happened above the A box. You're also given an N option for none. So if you read the sentence and you say there are no punctuation errors or no spelling errors, depending which section you are doing, then you can put N down as your answer. So to give you a little insight into how we get the pupils to answer the spelling section, I'm going to go through the three main things that we get them to look for. Now, it's quite a simple concept, the spelling section. You are just trying to find the spelling mistake, but it's not always as easy that for pupils. But there's only really a few ways that you can change the spelling of a word without it becoming quite obvious that that is a spelling error. So the three things we get the pupils to look for are double letters and single letters, missing letters, and then vowel changes. So to give you some examples here, we've got on the board. So double letters, single letters. This on the left, letter, you've got a single T and a double T, and then manner and manner. So they both sound the same, but we have the correct spellings on for you there. Then we've got missing letters. So an example here would be cushion and conscious and conscious. Again, you don't get drawn to one of them initially, but once you have a look at how they're spelled, you can see that there are some spelling errors there. And then finally, vowel changes. Now I've put SC there as well because although it's not a vowel change, sometimes they will swap an S for a C or a C for an S. So the word sounds the same when you say it, but there has been a spelling error in there. And then the vowel changes are quite simple here. They'll do it where it doesn't change the sound of the word. So when you say it in your head, it sounds the same. So church and dentist, but we have these correct spellings for you there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through a whole spelling section that you might see on the GL Assessment 11 Plus. And what I'm going to do in the top hand corner is I'm just going to add those three things that we mentioned previously. And I'm going to see how many times they come up and how common it might be. So all I'm going to do is, if you want to pause this video and try and work out the answers yourself, that'd be a really good starting point. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk you through each question and tell you where the spelling error is and does it fall into one of the categories we've got. So question 29 is actually the same as the one we showed you at the introduction. So we know the answer is tournament, and it has a missing letter. So first one, we've got one from our three categories. Question 30, received, is spelt incorrectly. So we've got the I and the E the wrong way around. So we've got some, although they haven't changed the vowel in sense they've taken one away, they've moved the vowels around. So we're going to put that in our vowel change category. Next for question 31, pursued has a vowel change as well. 32, the word's permission, which should have some double letters in it, and ours only have single letters for permission. 33, this one's fine. So there are no spelling errors in there at all, so we don't need to worry about that one. Question 34, compulsory. Again, we've got some vowel changes. 35, playful, should only have one L at the end, so that is a double letter for a single letter. 36, climbing. So this one here is a missing letter because they've missed the B out, but actually climbing with or without the B sounds exactly the same. And this is what they're going to try and do to try and catch you out a little bit. And then finally 37, consistent, is another vowel change. So this example here is hopefully illustrated to you that when you read this, you don't automatically pick up the spelling errors because they're manipulating the words in a way that it is quite tricky for you to pick up. But as you're going through, if you have those three things in your mind, double letters, single letters, missing letters, or vowel changes, then you can see we've had 9 questions here, and we've had 8 of those 9 come up in our category, and one of them is an N. So actually, all of our answers have fallen into one of those categories. So hopefully that will help you when you're working through the spelling. Even if you can't necessarily see the spelling error, you can start seeing, well, maybe that should have a double letter instead of a single letter, or actually have they changed the vowels round in that letter, or actually have they missed the letter out completely but it still sounds the same. Next, moving on to our punctuation section. Now I will be honest with you, the punctuation section is a lot harder to find than the spelling section. We do have 3 categories again, but they are by no means exclusive, and I'm going to talk you through that in a minute as well, because with punctuation there's a whole range of things you can do with words. You can miss bits out, you can add bits in, that's really going to try and catch you out. And I would say that in our experience of tutoring the 11 plus for, as I say, the last 10 years, that the punctuation section is the one section of the whole exam across the 4 subjects, across the 2 papers, that pupils consistently find the hardest to do. So to try and help you a little bit with this, and again, I fully admit this is not perfect, we have got 3 areas that we kind of get the pupils to look at. Now the first one's really simple. You go to the very end of the punctuation section and you see if there is a question mark, a full stop there, sorry. If there's a full stop, then go back to the start of the paper and work your way through. If there isn't a full stop at the end of that sentence, then your answer would be D, because there wouldn't be a full stop, but there needs to be one there. Next one we get people to look for is capital letters. So this is to do with proper nouns and common nouns, essentially. So England is a proper noun, spanner is a common noun, so we see where we would have our capital letters there. And then section 3 is a really big one actually. It's called start end, and I'll elaborate a little bit more on this. One thing they love to do on the GL assessment for the 11 plus is they will start with quotation marks, but they won't finish with quotation marks. Or they'll finish with brackets, but they won't start with brackets. Or they'll start with a comma, but they don't finish with a comma. So this is something to be aware of as well, especially when you're reading it. It's just to double check that they have got brackets at the start and the end, and they have got quotation marks at the start and the end. Now, the reason I said earlier punctuation is one of the hardest bits to teach and hardest bit for pupils to get is because we have all of these things that we need to be aware of as well. All of this falls into punctuation. So it does make it really tricky. Have they put a question mark when it should be an exclamation mark? Have they put quotation marks at the start and the end? Have they put a colon when it should be a semicolon? Should there be an apostrophe there? Should there be a comma there? Should it have been a full stop? It really is a whole minefield, the punctuation section. But hopefully using these 3 ideas, we might be able to eliminate some, or not eliminate in a sense, but work our way through the questions in a more structured fashion. So if we take a random punctuation section from the GL assessment paper, I'll put up my 3 areas in the box here. I don't think we're going to get as many ticks as we did for the spelling section, if I'm completely honest, but we will go through each question one at a time and see how we get on. What might be a really good idea is if you pause this video now and try and answer the punctuation section yourself, and then press play again once you've done. That's probably a great idea. Remember, you have N as an option, so you think there's no punctuation errors as well, you can put an N down for it. Okay, so hopefully you've had a go at answering this yourself, and I'm now going to go through the answers to kind of show you the sorts of things we're looking for. So question 38, there is no full stop at the end of this sentence, but then it starts with a capital letter on 39. Now this is one trick for the punctuation, is that sometimes to find the punctuation error in the previous one, you have to go to the next one, or sometimes find the punctuation in the one you're on, you need to go to the one before. So here, the answer is D, because we don't have a full stop at the end of animal, but then we have a capital letter, which is starting a new sentence for 39. So I'm going to give myself a tick here for full stop at the end. I know it's not at the end, but we should have gone to the end of the paper first and seen there is a full stop. But as it is a full stop error, I'm going to give myself a tick there. Next one, for question 39. The answer is B. But how accurate is this? It's clearly a question, so that should have ended with a question mark as opposed to a full stop. 40, there are no errors, so well done if you got that one right. 41, C, we need an apostrophe for suns, from the sun's harmful rays. 42, now this is another one where you need to go back to the previous one to be able to find the answer. The answer is A. The reason it's A is because we need a comma. So at the minute, the sentence sounds like this. If we go back to 41, it says, the same fluid, red in colour, also moisturizes and serves as an antibiotic. Whereas when we read it, it should say, the same fluid, red in colour, also moisturizes and serves an antibiotic. So we would need our comma after colour. 43, oh, so that's a start and an end. So we have the start of a comma, but not the end. 43, we've got an apostrophe again. So for it's, we've got two apostrophes already. It's true, it is true. So we need an apostrophe between the T and the S. 44, we need a comma here between the food and they. 45, we are missing our brackets. So this is another start and end one. We have brackets at the start where it says up to 30 kilometers per hour, but then the brackets don't end. And we can see if we read the rest of the text, they don't have brackets at the end either, and it should stop before we start our new sentence. And then finally 46, no punctuation errors at all. In summary, we have our three sections we looked at for the spelling section, and they worked quite well actually. When we went through the question paper previously, we got 8 out of 9, or actually 8 out of 8 actually, because one of them was an N. So you are looking for the spelling error, but as I mentioned previously, it's very hard to manipulate a word without it becoming very clear and very obvious that it's a spelling error, unless it's kind of one of these three areas. So we do get the pupils to look through this. And then for punctuation, which I fully admit didn't work as well. We only got 3 ticks, and one of them was like a half tick for the full stop. But we get pupils to, first of all, look if there's a full stop at the end. And then the two main things we get them to look for that always seems to crop up are capital letters, so where are common noun and proper noun, and then the start and the end section where have they got brackets at the beginning but not the end, or same with quotation marks or commas, whatever it might be. The problem with the punctuation section, as I said previously, is you have all these other things to be aware of as well, which does make that section a little bit tougher to break down. Alright, that brings us to the end of this tutorial on the spelling, punctuation and grammar section on the GL Assessment Style 11 Plus papers. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate your time. If you would like to learn more about our company, what we do, or see how we could help your child as they prepare for the 11 Plus, please feel free to contact us on the details provided on this page. Thank you.